his opponents to have that opening to use against him, and that's the sort of psychology that Marty Scurll in the ring can sort of play on so well. So from a sort of like a working sort of standpoint, I'm really looking forward to the way that the actual match will go down, but I'm also really looking forward to the story that they tell psychologically.
Dad, your thoughts?
This match potentially could basically be a program where
it's still the show for this pay-per-view in general.
Right, and the thing is, in the back of your mind, when you have this match, will some of the Bullet Club members come out to assist Marty to basically do a beatdown on Lethal, and basically down the road set up a program where Lethal is going to reach out to some of his quote-unquote friends and have a program with members of Marty and the Bullet Club, yeah.
Interesting idea.
I mean,
what's interesting is we're in New York, and we didn't discuss this earlier with the Hung Bucks and everything else. We're in New York with the Bullet Club. This New York crowd is going to love them, and that's just the truth. It's New York City, and it's the Bullet Club. If there's ever going to be a crowd that's going to not give a shit about the heel and face line, it's going to be New York City.
Well, this is the thing. This will be the perfect opportunity if they want to turn Jay Lethal, because as good as he's been as a babyface, I think it's getting a bit stale. So if there's ever a crowd that they want to turn him heel with, it's this crowd. You can imagine if he starts beating down Marty and sort of turning full-blown heel, the crowd will absolutely crap all over him. It'd be great.
Ooh.
Good idea. I didn't think of that. Very good idea.
That's a good thing. Is all of a sudden where Marty thinks he's still in with the Bullet Club, and now
Marty turns and they turn on him. Wow.
Right, and then now they're recruiting Lethal. And what you do is you have solidified by the American Nightmare coming out.
We'll get to him in a minute. We'll get to him.
And giving Lethal the opportunity to be into the Bullet Club.
But if Marty Scurll leads the Bullet Club, what's he going to do with those Bullet Club umbrellas that he has?
I guess you'll have
I'm
a
sure
fire
there's
sale.
People out there who'll buy them.
You'll have a fire sale.
Exactly, fire sale. All right, let's get to our other main events. We have an interesting match. We have a New York street fight between the Briscoes and Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer.
Well, now here's the thing.
This is interesting.
But here's the thing. ROH have turned the Briscoes heel.
They have. This is brutal heel. This is heavy-duty heel Briscoes that I actually liked in Ring of Honor past.
But here's the thing with the Ring of Honor past, okay? And not trying to shoot them in the foot, but
ouch. When
Lethal had the heel character and had the House of Truth, you had more of a fan base on seeing where the program was going to go. But now when you have Lethal as a babyface and he's not aligned to anyone, you notice he gets lost in the shuffle.
Well, what about this match though? The Briscoes versus Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer. The storyline of Bully Ray's full retirement. I'm not sure what he said more in the last couple of months. I'm retiring, or yay ECW.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure what he said more.
I see the Briscoes coming on top.
Okay, I'm intrigued by this. Hayden, what do you think?
The first thing I want to say is that Jay Briscoe as a babyface scared the hell out of me. So as a heel, I'm terrified. He is literally one of the most scariest men I've ever seen on my television. I'm telling you that now.
He's scary in person. Scary in person. I got a picture with them, and we got pictures with the Briscoes, and they're scary in person.
Yes, I can imagine. But I do want to say that this has been a great story that they've told. They sort of slowed to pull the trigger on it earlier in the year, but in the last 2 months, it's just been brilliant storytelling in terms of the Bully Ray retirement tour, shall we say, and then the Briscoes turning full on heel and then going after the Team 3D Academy students and so on and so forth. It's felt very real, and I know that it's not, but it felt very real and very very hate filled, and it excites me. And when I first sort of started seeing it coming together in terms of it was going to be the Briscoes against Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer, I was excited, but at the same time I was worried about the match quality. Now, because they've given it the stipulation of the New York street fight, they've got a lot of shortcuts and a lot of potential to sort of just do crazy things, which is going to help the quality of the match.
It's funny because we were just watching Abyss versus Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy Dreamer went through thumbtacks. So there you go.
There you go. Flashback.
Here's the thing that I think you will see in that match. Three things. One, you're going to see Redneck Kung Fu come out.
Oh, jeez.
2, you're going to see kendo sticks come out, but from Tommy Dreamer. And 3, most important, is you're going to see, instead of Devon get the tables, Tommy get the tables, and you're going to see a what's up from both Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray.
And I'm going to go flipping table, just because.
And so there are 3 things that you're going to see in this match because of the New York Street Fight rule.
The weirder thing. Okay, so quick story. Our first Ring of Honor show here in Milwaukee. The Briscoes were in the main event. I don't know who they were facing anymore. The Briscoes were in the main event.
I know they're How's the Truth?
How's the Truth? It was How's the Truth versus the Briscoes. And we had a match, and it was a no disqualification street fight between the two teams in Milwaukee at the Turner Hall Ballroom. And at this show, they didn't know what the attendance was going to be like, so they didn't put anybody up in the balcony except for some wrestlers. They had the balcony open. So Jay Briscoe, was it Mark Briscoe?
It was Mark Briscoe.
Mark Briscoe decides in the middle of this match to go to the top of the balcony and do an elbow drop from the top of the balcony into the ring.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah, that happened, and everyone was in shock. Luckily, that was the main event, so nothing followed it. Luckily.
There was 2 cheers coming from the crowd. There was,
please don't die.
No. Holy shit, and that was awesome.
Yeah, I have the DVD of it. It's so bizarre to watch back, but we were there for that. It was insane. So you never know what these two are going to do. All right, our main event of the evening, Ring of Honor Championship. It is Cody versus Dalton Castle. And I want to make a note here that the winner of this obviously moves on to Wrestle Kingdom to face Kota Ibushi. So that's interesting.
Easy for you to say.
But anyway, let's talk about this match, though. You have Cody and Dalton Castle. Hayden, let's be honest here. Does Dalton Castle have a chance to win the title?
I think so. I don't know if I'm just sort of buying into the storyline too much, but I think the underdog babyface, who's been talked down to by the heel, but also sneakily attacked whenever possible, and also the fact that Cody Rhodes has been sort of trying to weasel out of the match. The whole thing points towards the fact that they want a big babyface moment at the end of the show, and I don't see. For me, everything seems to point towards them wanting Dalton Castle to be standing there at the end of the show, title held over his head, with the crowd sort of cheering on. And I think that would be a good moment to end their biggest show of the year. Cody has been a very good heel, and I wouldn't be surprised if he came out on top. But at the same time, I just think everything's pointing towards a Dalton Castle run.
I'm intrigued. Well, okay, I want to see Dalton Castle win. I personally do. I've been saying that for a long, long time. But here's the question. With New Japan doing the Wrestle Kingdom show, did they spoil this, or are they just saying the Ring of Honor champion is going to face off at that match? Because they do have the Ring of Honor championship at Wrestle Kingdom.
That's a very good point, because I hadn't actually thought about that. Just the thought of Dalton Castle fighting in the Tokyo Dome, just seeing the reaction of the Japanese fans not knowing what the heck is going on would just be priceless.
I think he's fitting perfectly. I think he's fitting perfectly there.
So yeah, that's a very good point. I didn't think about that. You've actually got me stumped, because that's thrown everything I thought about this match completely out of the window.
Yeah, I just popped up the Wrestle Kingdom card over here. Go ahead, Dad.
The thing that I think intrigues me is Blake and I have been watching some of New Japan wrestling on Access.
Yes.
And you see some ROH crossover into New Japan and vice versa. My thing is, you've seen a lot of Kenny Omega.
Yes.
And then you've seen a lot of Cody coming in.
Cody.
And then there's that always speculation.
And the Bullet Club in general.
Right. But now here's the thing. In New Japan, the way the program is who is the real leader of the Bullet Club? Cody or Kenny Omega?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, so now if and I'm going as kind of a speculation with the program, if you put the belt on Dalton, does that mean that you have a shakeup in as far as leadership with the Bullet Club?
Interesting idea.
And then do you have Dalton start a program in New Japan?
Interesting.
And if you think about it as well, because obviously it's going to be Omega against Jericho in the main event.
I can't wait for that. By the way,
it does sort of free up Cody if he loses the title to not necessarily interfere in the match, but sort of start a program with Omega afterwards if they're going to go down that route. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, that would be intriguing to see Kenny Omega versus Cody headline a show down the road. That'd be intriguing. I'd be interested in that. I'm not going to lie. Imagine.
Yeah, certainly.
Well, actually, maybe. Well, how far is it for those? Because I know you're doing another set of U.S. shows here, and imagine if they headline with Kenny Omega versus Cody for the U.S. Championship in the U.S.
Oh my Lord! Think about it. The potential.
Yeah, because the star power from Cody in the US with and Omega with the star power sort of with the hardcore fans, if you want to call them that, it'll draw a lot of new eyeballs to the product. So yeah, it would certainly be the biggest main event I think they could put on those US shows.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh, then another thing is the division of the members of the Bullet Club. Are some going to follow Cody and some going to follow Kenny Omega?
Interesting.
If you think about it, I mean, you could have potential to have Bullet Club against Bullet Club and figure out which wrestlers are going to top, as you can say, can you top this? I mean, that would be a great program to do.
Interesting. That sounds too NWO-ish, though. It really does sound very NWO.
Yeah, but this is a way to showcase all the members of the Bullet Club and their talents, instead of having some kind of lie in the background and you forget about it.
Well, New Japan has enough belts that everyone seems to have title belts in New Japan, so they got like 27 title belts. So
is there a title for just coming out of the locker room and having the longest entrance music?
That would be probably Shinsuke Nakamura. Wait,
you went there. Oh, okay, all right.
I love the guy, but it's true. I love him. Okay, we'll let it go, but I do want to say a quick joke. We were at SmackDown Live about a month ago, and the main event of the show combined, it was Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura attacking together. The entrances were like 15 minutes.
Oh my God! Just chuck the Undertaker in there as well.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun, but it was crazy at the same time.
Well, here's the thing.
It sounds glorious.
Yeah, there you go.
You see, yeah.
But here's some props that I've picked up listening for Jim Ross on New Japan, and I forgot the commentary on ROH, is when they're getting British wrestlers that are coming up, and in New Japan or ROH, the two names that basically come out as far as the training and the wrestling techniques are Billy Robinson and Dave Taylor. And Billy Robinson, to me, being a wrestling fan back in the 60s and 70s, was big in the AWA and Verne Gagne, and this was a man that had wrestling holds and techniques that, if you want to kind of put it down roads, he was like, at that day, the heyday of like a Dean Malenko, where he was a man of 1,000 holds. And if that type of training is continuing on with him and Dave Taylor on the British end, then this is kudos to the British wrestlers of coming out from that training.
Oh, there you go. I'm just trying to figure out a time difference here. Sorry. I'm looking at something. I'm trying to figure out a time difference about something else. I was trying to figure out what time the Wrestle Kingdom 12 starts here. Sorry about that.
Isn't it something like 2 in the morning or
I
something?
don't know.
Like that?
That's the problem. I've never watched it live, so I have no idea how that works. I'm going to check it with Will Pruitt. He seems to know every year.
Yeah.
So, all right. On that note, Hayden, I'll let you get your plugs in. Go for it.
Well, as Blake said earlier on, the majority of my stuff is on ProWrestling.net. You can find a lot of my written stuff in terms of blogs and things like that. We do have a member side to the website, which is where a lot of my audio goes, the Progress Wrestling audio, the ROH weekly audio show as well, and also recently I've done a .net weekly special with Jason Powell. where we went through the whole Ring of Honor roster page, basically talking about each individual, where we think they stand currently and where we think they're going to go. Jason had a lot of news and exclusive notes about contract